Hello guys, so welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be looking at this our enterprise lab setup here, and I'll just briefly explain to us what we have currently at the moment. So within the lab that we have here currently now, we have our different internet service providers like ISP1, ISP2, and we equally do have our edge routers that are available. And after our edge routers, we have cluster setup where we have two firewalls acting in the high availability mode, as we can all see. And if you're confused as to how to set up HA, you can always watch our previous video on clustering and you see how to set that up as well. And here we have the bond interface here. So we're going to set up these two interfaces on our two firewalls in HA mode so that they act like a single logical interface. So we're going to do that using bond. So we'll see how to do that as well. And as usual, we have our security management server 1. That's the primary security management server, and it's already installed as a primary. If you don't know how to install it, you can also watch our previous videos on that. And we also do have our security management server 2 as a secondary. We have our dedicated log server as well, and we equally have our core firewall here. So with that being said, let's see how to make this work then. All right, so with all that being done, I'm going to clear this markup we have on our screen, and then we're just going to go straight to it. So we are going to get into this our smart console PC. We'll first of all start with our security gateways in high availability. Since they currently have just the management IP set, we equally try to configure the other IP addresses on these devices. And equally on our core firewall, we are equally going to set up the other interfaces available. So I'll just log into this particular security gateway, this SG1. We'll log into it, and also I'll go to SG2. It's already open here. I'm just going to log into that as well. So just give it some time. So you give it some time and it's going to open as such. From here, you can just move to interfaces. Once you go to interfaces, you see we're currently in SG2, connection unable to connect to server. I'll just reconnect to it. Let me reconnect once more. Okay. So we'll just log into it as such. It's going to load and we're going to see all our interfaces that are currently configured. So right now we have just two interfaces, but from the topology on SG2, we see that we have ET1 and ET3. So we'll configure ET3 and the network there is 192.168.13.12. We'll put that there. I'll just double click on ET2, we double click, and we'll put in the IP you enabled. And then we'll put in our IP address. So you can check through, and you also include your subnet masks. So when that's done, you hit on OK. I think we need to, yes, I need to close this. .0, yes. So you hit on OK. When you add the IP address, it's going to be saved automatically. So just give it some time, it's going to come up and turn green as well. And we are equally going to go to our next firewall here, that's SG2, and we are going to do the same thing. You go to your interfaces, you go to ET2 as well. You can look on your design and make sure you're using the right IP 192.168.12.11. We'll enable the interface, put in IP address, .12.11, put in our subnet marks, And that should be it for now. We're going to hit on OK. So once that is set, you can get back to our device here. I'm just going to click on it. It's a tool. Interface is enabled. Subnet mask is placed. We hit on OK there. We save the changes. Just do a refresh here. OK. And that is set as well. Here as well, do the refresh. And our interfaces are all being set already on our both firewalls here. Also, we are going to go to our firewall core. Just put in your IP address. I'm going to log into it. Log in the username and our password. We'll log in there as well. So just wait for it to come up. This is not our firewall. I believe our firewall should be yes.tv. Yes, so I'll just log into our firewall here. So this is the firewall core. We'll just log into it and wait for it to come up. So once it's up, we just need to go to network interfaces, and from here we'll do the same thing. If we can look closely, we have this ET1 already configured, and we have ET0 here, and the IP address should be 172.16.1.1. So go here and ET3, ET0 rather. We'll double click on that and we're setting the IP. We enable the interface and put in your IP 172.16.1.1. I'll confirm that. Yes. And we're equally just going to put in our subnet mask and hit on OK. So our interface is set. Also on our security gateways here, our interfaces are not yet up already. Equally on security gateway 2 as well, interface is not yet up. That's fine. With that being said, we're just going to go ahead and reboot these two devices. I'll go to security gateway 2 first on the CLI. You can double click on it. And I'm going to log in. Normally in production, you'll be using your console PC to be able to get into that device, or you SSH into the device. So I'll hit here admin. Let me go with admin on today. And I'll take log. And I'm going to do reboot. I'll confirm it, and I'm going to confirm again. Yes, so it's going to reboot. I'll also go to SG1 and we're going to reboot it as well. Put in admin, put our username, our password rather. We claim the log database override, and we are also going to reboot. We confirm with a yes and we wait for the reboot to be done. So once we reboot, then we'll be good to go. So while it's coming up, we are going to go back into our Smart Console PC. I'll double click into it and I'll just minimize this browser. This is the Chrome browser. We'll minimize this browser and we are going to open our Smart Console to log into our security management server, our primary security management server. So before going there, I'll just check if our security management server is ready for us to access it. So we can use admin. So you can use the command API status You see the readiness of the device itself, of our security management server. So you see the server is up and ready to receive connections. So that is good. So from there, we are just going to proceed to a smart console here. And since the version of the Gaia operating system that is installed on our firewall is actually R81.20, we'll just go with the smart console that matches that version. So we'll click on the R81.20 smart console, and once it opens up, we're going to log in into our SMS. So once our smart console comes up, we're just using the username of SMS1, which is admin. We're putting the password of SMS1, which is admin123. It's basic for basic home lab. We'll put in the IP address of our SMS1. Let's confirm the IP address of SMS1. Yes, 101. And we'll just log into that and just wait for it to be ready. So once our smart console opens, we can then go ahead to bring in our different security management servers like SMS2, equally our log server, and also our different security gateways and our firewall core. They have to all be managed by SMS1. So I'm just going to bring in SMS2 first. You can click on this star icon as usual. You click on more, and then you take a checkpoint host. That's what you take. Wait for it to come up, and once it's up, so once it opens up, we are just going to go ahead and put in the IP address of the SMS2, that's 10.1.1.1.tv. So give it a name or just say SMS2. And we're also going to give it an IP address. Its IP address 10.1.1.1.tv. And from here, you need to make sure you go to management and you check the box network policy management. It's going to automatically check it to be the secondary because it knows that it's already a primary already. You can check it like that. I think it's just going to be fine. Yes. From here, you can then communicate to establish that secure internal communication with the security management server. Once you hit on communicate, then it should prompt you for the one-time password. So once it comes up, then we can then put in our one-time password that we set at the time of installation. So you input that password again and you take initialize to set it up. So if everything goes fine, it should be trusted and it's already trusted here. We click on close and we are going to take OK. Once we do that, the next thing is to bring in our log server here. So to bring our log server, we'll go through the same process again. You hit the star icon. You get to more as well. It's equally a checkpoint host. You click on checkpoint host and hold on for it to come up. Once it's up, you go through the same process. So when it comes up, you can then go ahead to put in the name. I'll just give the name like log_server. And also we give it the IP address of our log server, that's 10.1.104. And also before you initialize that communication between the SMS and the log server, make sure you come to management and you choose login and status. That's what you need there. So once you do that, then you're going to be good to go. From here, you can equally check in the smart event depending on what you're working on. But from here, we're just going to communicate. hit on communication to establish that trust. We'll put our password, admin 123. Whatever password you use during the installation phase, especially the first time configuration wizard, that's what you're going to use here. Once the trust is established, you can close this and you hit OK. And that should be it for the log server for now. So once we do that, the next thing we can do before we bring in our two security gateways and our next, we can bring in our firewall here. It's just the firewall and it's not going to be in the ClusterXL mode. So I'll just hit the drop down arrow here and I'm going to take in gateway since it's just a firewall, a security gateway. I'm going to click on that and we are going to now take the classic mode. You can go with any mode you're comfortable with. We'll go with the classic mode since it has everything all in one environment. You can go with that, and from there, once it comes up, we are going to proceed with that then. So once it comes up, we'll give the name, I'll just give the name firewall core. And we'll give the IP address that's here, that's 10.1.1.1.3. And equally, before we communicate, we can communicate the way, we can just communicate from now. If you want to permit some other security profiles, you can permit them here. But we're just going to communicate since the firewall blade is already up for the moment. So I'll just click on OK. I'll click on communication here to initialize that SIG. And once we do that, we should be prompted to put in the one-time password as well. So we'll just do that right here. So once you do that, you click initialize. You give it some time. So from here, once your trust is established, you're good to go. You can then hit OK. And when you do that, we are going to be good to go at the level of our firewall here. So our firewall is now being managed from these security management servers. So policies can be created from here and pushed to those different firewalls as needed. So when it's done, we click on OK here and we are then good to go. So once we are at this point here, we can then publish and wait for everything to be synchronized between our two security gateways. So I'll hit publish and then from there, we'll see what to do after that. So I'm going to hit publish right here. We'll click on publish. Just give it some few seconds. And when that is done, the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to just get straight into our security gateways here at the level of Gaia portal, and we'll try to set up the bond interfaces. But currently, since during the installation, we set up this interface here to be the management interface and also this interface here, you cannot be able to use the use a management interface for the bond interface. So what is going to happen is that we are going to change the management interface to this interface, and then through the CLI, we are going to configure this interface to be the bond interface. And we're also going to set up our routes and later on set up these routers for internet access. So we are going to do that and hopefully it all goes well. So we'll just go straight into our platform here. So currently now synchronization is happening and synchronization between SMS1 and SMS2 is going on. So it's good. So from here, we're just going to go to our browser. We'll go to the browser here and we'll go to SG1 and also SG2 to make those changes. So right here on the portal here, this is already SG1 we are logged into. We are logged into SG1 and you can see the management interface is set to ETH0. This is it right here. ETH0 here. But we don't want that. So we need to change the management interface so we can set up the two bond interfaces. So to do that, we'll just change our set management interface. You can click on that. And instead of ET0, we are going to choose ETH3. We'll choose this other interface. This other interface here. ETH3 is what we are going to choose for the management here. After doing that, we are going to lose connection because we are currently connected to ET0 right here. So take OK. We'll take OK as well. So that's going to be set. If we refresh this page, we should lose connection to the page actually, because we are no longer going to have access to it. So let's just hold on for it to come up. Okay, so it's come, I think it's on right now. I think that's because, let's see, yes. I actually want to override lock, which we're going to override the lock here. And currently, if we look at our management interface here, I'll go to network interfaces. Let's just look at our management interface. Yes, our management interface has been set to ETH3 and everything is fine, so that's good. And if you have everything set like this, then we can then set up our bond interface now, because we want to bundle up ET4 and ET0 here. This is it, ET4 and ET0. So to do that, you just need to come on this SG1, you hit the drop down arrow here, and you click on bond. Once you click on bond, remember we're doing this before we are bringing the security gateways to be managed at the level of the security management server. So once you do that, you can give a comment if you want to. You can give a bond group, you can bond group 1. And here I'll just take ET0, you hit add, and also ET4, you hit add as well. Here, and you hit on OK. Allow the round robin mode, it's okay there. You hit OK there. Interface ET0 has an IP address configured. Alright, so to be able to do that, we need to take off the IP address. And if we take off the IP address on ET0, that means we need to set up the bonding at the level of the command prompt, that's the CLI. So to do that, I'm just going to remove the IP address here on this interface. You can double click. Yes, we take OK. It's giving us the warning sign because if we make the changes here, we'll be disconnected on this interface. So just delete this and equally remove this as well here. So you hit OK, and once you hit OK, we are going to be disconnected. You save the changes, but we will no longer have access again to this graphical user interface. So if I should refresh this particular browser here, we are no longer going to be able to connect to it again because the IP address has been taken off. We'll do the same thing. We'll do the same thing on SG2. So SG2 on SG2 here, this is SG2. Currently the management interface is this, but we change the management interface to ET3 and then we take off the IP address there as well. So to do that, I'm just going to change set management interface. You click that and then you hit the drop down arrow. From there, you can now take ET3 that's there and you hit OK. Proceed to OK. And when you do that, the next thing is to go to ETH0 and then take up the IP address there. You hit OK. I'm going to disable the interface. And I'm equally going to remove this IP address from here. We must not disable the interface. We can even just allow the interface enabled. I'll click OK here. And by default, we should not have access to it because we have taken up the IP. So the next thing to do is to just double click on the device, or if you're in a physical environment, you can use your your console cable. We'll go to SG2. And once we go to SG2 here, let me close this. We can always go to SG2 from here. We hit enter or login admin with our password admin123. we'll acquire the lock. We'll have access to configurations, log database override. You hit enter there. And once we do that, the next thing we're supposed to do is to set up bonding here on the interface that we are trying to work on. So if we want to set up the bonding, we need to put in these few commands. There are some key commands we are going to put here to set up the bonding on the two different interfaces. So you need to type in the command add bonding, where you put bonding group 1, and put interface ETH. You put the interface that you want to, according to what SG2 here, we want to use ET0 and ET4. So we're going to put ET0, you hit enter. They are going to add bonding, type the same command again, group, you put 1, interface, and now you put the next interface, ET. What we have here is 4. So that's what we are going to put. And you hit enter. And finally, the final command now is to put an IP address on this particular bond group interface. So you can set interface bond group bond 1 IPv4 address. You put the address, and the address we are going to put back this single address, this single 10.1.1.1, and the subnet marks as well. There's this edge2, we put the address 10.1.1.1, and we are equally going to put the max length, that's the network max /24, and you hit enter there. So that's how it's been done. So I've equally just placed in that particular we have created a bond interface, that's bond 1, and we have equally placed an IP. So the IP address is logically appended to those two interfaces of the firewall there. So we're going to do the same thing on SG1. We'll click here. I'll take admin. So take back the log since we recently lastly logged on the graphical user interface. And then we're just going to set, or we're going to add the bond group order before setting. Add bond group 1 interface ETH1. So these are our interface here. Interface ETH0, we'll add 0. And we'll do the same thing again. You can hit the up arrow key, and instead of that, you put 4. That's what we have here. We want to combine these two, we take 4. We hit enter, and we are going to set. Oh, I think we should have used a different, it is fine. We should have used a different, let me see, bond group 1, okay, no problem. Interface bond 1, and we're going to put IPv4 address, and we're going to put in the address of that particular bond interface, 10.1.1.2. And we are also going to put in the max length, network mask. Here we go. And we'll take save config to save the changes we have made. So those are the basic commands to create the bonding at the level of the CLI. You equally take save config here as well. And also from here, since we are going to be connecting to this router here, and this is the interface that we are going to connect to, it will be good for us to set a default route to point traffic here, because we don't currently have that default route available. So we'll talk about routing, because there's a key element of routing that we need to all understand. If a device let's say if this particular device, I'll just call it A, wants to reach the internet, it's going to forward traffic to this firewall here, which is going to be its gateway, at the level of this firewall core, it has a particular default route that points to this VIP cluster IP that's pointing to the cluster, and at the level of these two security gateways, we are going to set default routes pointing here and equally default routes pointing here as well. And from here, the default route at the level of the router will point to our ISP, and the default route will point to our ISP. The issue now is for return traffic. So when traffic is about to return back to our internal, to this PCA, traffic from the internet will hit this router. So when it hits this router, we need to tell this router, oh, if the destination is, let's say, 172, or if it's coming to, so if it's coming to 192.168.17 network, or the 172.16 behind here, it should forward everything from the router here. It should forward traffic for those particular networks to this particular, you should forward it to this particular security gateway here. That's the VIP actually. You should forward it to the VIP, and same thing from here, you should forward it to the VIP as well, since this VIP is all part of the same cluster. And once this security gateway receives it as well, the security gateway is not directly connected to those networks. So we need to equally input routes there, telling this particular security gateway, both of them, we need to tell both security gateways, since they'll be acting as one. We need to tell them that, okay, if they receive traffic destined for these two networks which they are not directly connected to, they should forward it to this particular firewall core here. The same routes we are going to input there, they should forward it here as well, and this firewall is directly connected to them. So the devices will get their response. That's the core thing about routing that we are supposed to note while working, and we'll come and set that up as we progress. But for now, I'm just going to clear this, and we're just going to set the default routes. These are just the routes we just set for now. And when we are done setting up our firewall, we'll go ahead and work with the routings to ensure end-to-end communication. So I'm going to get back to where we were. We are going to come back here, and we're going to set our default route. So to set the default route from SG2, we'll just say the command is set static route. Set static route default next hop gateway address. Put the next hop address from our lab here is supposed to point to 192.168.12.13. We'll put it there, 19168.12.13, and we'll put it on. Hit enter there, and we are just going to take save. We'll come and add more routes here. Save config. You can even add, let's just add the routes that are necessary, supposed to be here at the same time. So here we have two networks. We equally tell this security gateway to that if it receives traffic for 192.168.17.10, that's a 17 network, you should forward it here. So from here, we equally say we'll set static. We'll set the static route, and we're going to set the default. It's not going to be a default route, and we're just going to say the route, the network is going to be 192.168.17.0. The destination is this network /24. Next hop gateway address should be, you should forward it now to firewall core 10.1.1.3, and we're going to put the state on. Hit enter there. Let's see. Oh, I think I made a mistake. .3, not 1. Hit on, and equally we'll do another route again. That's going to point to the same destination, but it should be the 172.1.1.0, and the next hop should point to the same environment. So just hit enter there. I'll take save. config. So that's what we are going to do there. Those are the routes. So we equally go to SG1 and we'll point traffic here as well. So I'll go to the SG1 and we're just going to set up the default route. So set static route default, and I'll put next up gateway address. And the next up gateway address should point to 192.168.12.14. From this perspective, you should point to the 12.14, and we just turn it on. We usually set static route, and the network now is going to be for the two networks here as well. We'll do what we did before for the two networks. The destination is 192.168.17.0/24, and the next hop gateway address should be 10.1.1.3, and we'll set it on. You hit enter. So we're going to use the up arrow key to add for the other network again, which should be 172.1.6.1.0, and the next hop gateway address should maintain. You hit enter there, and we'll take save config here. That's what we need, and our route, the routes that are necessary at the level of our gateways here are all okay. For our core router, it does not need routes because it just has a default route and it's directly connected to these two networks, so everything is fine. When we are setting up our router, we are equally going to include the necessary routes there at that. So once that is done, from here, if we go back to prove that the IP address on our bonding interfaces are working, if you go to your Smart Console PC back here, and if you get back to the Gaia portal here, you can see that currently we're already back, we're logged in already. If you refresh, SG2 is already up. And if you look closely, you go to network interfaces, you cannot do anything because we need to take the lock. You click on the little lock icon here, and you confirm that you want to take the lock. You want to access this. You want to be able to make changes. So with that, you can see we have our bond interface here that's currently working. So everything is up and everything is fine. So with that being said, we can now head over to our Smart Console. You can click on your Smart Console PC here. And once you're here, everything is green and everything looks good. We now need to bring in the security gateway. We need to now bring in the cluster. So you hit the drop down arrow here. And when you hit the drop down arrow, you go now to cluster here. You click on cluster. And you can now take cluster at this point. So once you take cluster, we'll go the classic mode. Just hold on for it to come up. So once it comes up, you can give it a name. We'll just say ClusterXL. And once it comes up, we'll give the cluster IP. The cluster IP is not the VIP IP. This is it here, 10.1.1.30. We'll give it that IP. And once we give it that IP, we'll keep the defaults the way they are. From here, we'll go to cluster members. Once we are here at cluster members, we'll now add the first gateway. We'll add new cluster member. And when we are adding that cluster member, we are going to use the bond IP address. So that's 10.1.1.1. So put in the name, I'll just put SG1, put in the name, and the name we're going, the IP address for that is 10.1.1.1. This is SG2, I'll just give it as SG2. and you can change the colors if you wish to. Just put orange and we hit communicate here. So if all is fine, we should put in our username and password. Admin 123. Need to type this properly. So put in the same password again, and we are going to initialize the trust is established. So I'm going to close this. So I'll take OK from here. Once that is done, we are going to add the next member. So the first member has been added. So we need to add the next member. So click on add, new cluster member. So just give it some time for it to come up. So once it comes up, we are just going to then input the name, or just set SG1, SG2, and we're going to put in the born IP, that's 10.1.1.2. Let me see, what did we give before? That was SG2, now should be SG1. So put the IP address there, 10.1.1.2, and you can give it a color, any color of your choice, or you can allow the defaults. Hit communicate, and we'll put in the IP address, the password rather, and we're going to initialize that communication. So once that is done, we'll close this and we'll take OK. So when that is done, you need to now go to the ClusterXL here. If you want to change the priorities, you can change that as we explained. If you want to get in depth as to how to set up the cluster, you can go to our previous videos where we mentioned about the ClusterXL to get a few grab on that. So currently it's currently set to high availability. You can allow the default here. You can then move to network management here. That's why it was important for you to set up all the IP addresses on all the interfaces on your security gateways, because at this point, we need to get the interfaces with topology. So all the interfaces that are configured on the device, they are going to be put to be all managed from this central platform. So if they're not configured, you start having some issues at this point here. So we'll just give you some time for it to come up. So once it comes up, you see it comes up as SG bond 2, and we have SG bond here as well. So everything here seems fine, and all our IP addresses are there. So we need to set our virtual IPs that are all available. So here I'm just going to go to bond 1. I'll double click here on between following design that we have here. On this side of the network, this is going to be our VIP, and on this side of the network here, this is going to be the virtual IP. So this is what really makes high availability really possible. All devices don't depend on their interfaces that are just directly appended to the device itself, but there's a floating IP on each device that's going to be available for them. In case one fails, this IP is going to be available on either of them for them to use and go out. So here, the first virtual IP will take here cluster, and when you take cluster, you give us the option to put the IP, and our first virtual IP is 10.1.1.20. So put it there, 10.1.1.20, and we are going to equally put the subnet mask 24. Once we do that, we can hit OK. Also, we'll go to the ET1 here and do the same thing. ET1, ET1, as you can see here, this is the sync interface. So you can always set that to sync. I'll double click on ET1 here and we'll set it to sync. We hit OK. And also on this our external IP here, we set our VIP IP based on our design. This is our VIP IP 192.168.12.20. So come here, you hit cluster, you put in your IP, put your subnet marks, and we can equally modify, we can disable anti-spoofing temporarily, but it's a good feature, it's a good security feature, but I'll temporarily disable it. I'll just take anti-spoofing set to detect. It should detect but not prevent. I'll take OK here, and I'll take OK here. And here as well, I'm going to set anti-spoofing to detect and not prevent. So here you can disable this or you can enable it, or I'll just disable it here. Anti-spoofing here is disabled. I'll hit OK. Here as well, I'll do the same thing for the external network. I'll just disable it for now. So I'll just modify this and I'll equally take or uncheck the anti-spoofing option. And I'll take OK here. We'll take OK there as well. And we are going to be good to go. So since it's going to be our gateway here, there are several things that can be done. We can perform nothing at the level of our gateway here, or we can perform nothing here as well. But since these our edge routers are directly connected to the internet, we'll just perform nothing at the level of our edge routers here. So for now, I'll keep the default here. So for that, you can then hit OK. And once you do that, then you can be able to save your changes, be able to publish the changes we have made. You click on yes. So once everything is set, we are going to hit and click the publish button to publish all the changes we have made so far. We click on publish. We'll then publish those changes. At this point, the deployment, our firewalls are up, but the policies that are not yet filtering traffic as needed, because the default, remember, the default firewall policy on all our security gateway is currently set to drop all traffic. But we're just going to install a single policy to permit all traffic, and we are going to do a lab where we actually demonstrate how we can be able to set structured policies to really implement security within our environment. So after our changes have been published, if you come to the security layer here, under security policies. These are the advantages of having a central platform where you can be able to manage the other firewalls. So from this particular platform here, you see all firewalls are actually having the same security policy. We can actually structure the policies into different packages where different policy packages are installed on different firewalls. But currently right now, we have a single policy package, that's a standard policy package. And this standard policy package is being installed on all the different security gateways that are available. So in another lab, we'll see how to structure those policies as needed. So currently here, I'm just going to hit the drop down arrow. We'll take accept. And I'll take the track option to log traffic. So once we do that, I'm going to then take on install. It's going to prompt us to publish and install. So once we do that, I'm just going to publish and equally install. So let's give it some time. It's going to install the policy on all the different firewalls available. So once we get this option, we can go ahead and take install. These are the two firewalls here, the cluster, which includes the two security gateways and also the firewall core. So it's going to install this policy package on all of them. We don't need to do it manually or individually. We just need to do it from one standpoint. So when you click on install, you hold on for it to go through. And once that's done, we are going to be good to go. So while our policy is installing, as we can see here, it's currently installing at the bottom. Let me make it visible. Let me make it visible here. So while our policy is actually installing, we'll go to details here. So I'll just click on details so we can be able to see the details of the policy. So while our policy is installing, as we can just clearly see, that will give you some time. The next things we'll have to do is currently we can clearly see that our lab is almost set, but there are key things we need to do. And since we have DHCP servers, DHCP clients here, it simply means that we need to set up this Windows server to be able to give IP addresses to these two servers here. And since the Windows server is not in the same network as the DHCP client, then we need to make sure on this interface we set up DHCP relay, because it's going to help these devices here for them to reach it's going to help the broadcast signals coming from these user devices here, for those broadcast signals to reach their intended DHCP server so they can get an IP address. And the next thing that we are going to do, we'll just set up this our edge routers here for internet access. So I'll clear this up. I'll just clear these annotations. And once that is done, we are then going to move to our edge router. I'll just go to the first edge router here, and we'll just configure it as it's supposed to be. I'll just put it on the side here. So I'm just going to get into it here, and we'll go to the configuration mode. I'm going to enter the first interface int gi0/0. So since we have to set up NAT, the first thing is we'll add our IP address on the interface, IP add. I'll put in the IP 192.168.12.13, subnet mask. We hit enter. Then we need to take, since it's going to be our internal network interface, we'll take IP NAT inside. We hit enter here. We give it some time. And when that is done, the interface equally comes up. I will take here no shot. no shutdown to bring it up. So we'll do the same thing. We'll enter the next interface that's connected to ISP. We'll do int gi0/1. We'll do IP add. And the IP address that we are going to add there is DHCP. It's going to receive an IP from the management cloud. DHCP, and we're going to do IP NAT outside. And we'll take no shutdown as well to bring the interface up. So I'll do that. I'll exit that particular interface. The next thing we need to do here is that we need to be able to set up a default route and the other routes as we explained earlier on. So currently we're on this router here, and the default route has to point to the management cloud's IP address, the gateway. So here, if I take exit, for instance, if I take show list, show IP list, let's see, hopefully, let me see, show DHCP list. Yes, if you take show DHCP list, you should see the DHCP server from this cloud management cloud's perspective. That means that's the gateway here. So we need to set up a default route to it. If you take show route, let me see, show IP route, you should be able to see, yes, we already have a default route pointing to that already. So we don't need to set a default route, but we need to add routes that are going to be pointing to these are internal networks here. So we'll tell this particular, we're going to tell this particular router that, okay, IP route, if the destination is 172.16.1.0, which is this our internal network here. If this is the destination with the subnet mask of 255.0, you need to forward it to the VIP IP. Send it here because this guy knows how to continue from there since we included its own route already. So we're going to input that VIP IP, that's 192.168.12.20. We'll put it there and hit enter. Oh, we need to go to the configuration mode, conft, and once we are there, before we should be able to input this command. So hit enter here, and also we'll do the same thing for the next network, that is this other network here. If its traffic is destined for this other network, then it should do the same thing. So we'll just go there and we'll just change the network. That should be 192.168.17.0, like that. You should forward it to the same VIP. So hit enter. So those two routes are set, and we already have our default route as we saw. Now the next thing for NATing is we need to create an access list, because we're trying to set up internet access at the level of our core router. So we need to set up NAT, and the type of NAT that we're going to set up is path. So we need to tell this particular router that, okay, what are those that you're going to permit to access the internet? We need to create an access list. So create access list 1, and we'll say permit. So we're going to permit, we can permit all networks that are available here. We can permit all networks that are available. So for instance, we can permit the 192.168.17.0, which has a wildcard of 0.0.0.255, is the opposite of the subnet mask. We hit enter there. We do the same thing again. We permit 172.16.1.0 with a wildcard of 0.0.0.255, like this, and you hit enter. You also need to permit which other networks do we want to access the internet. This internal network, you might want them to access the internet if need be, or if you don't want them to access the internet, you can allow it. but we are just going to permit that particular network as well. So I'll just put this, and I'm going to put the network here, .1 .10 10.1.1 network. We put that as well, and also we can equally include this network here if need be. So that's 192.168.12 network. We're just permitting all networks here. You can just create an access list that permits all networks, but I just wanted to put it this way so we see how to permit certain networks. If you don't permit a network in this access list, then it's going to fail when the network, any device from that network tries to access the internet. So here we're going to put in the other network, that's 192.168.12.0, and the wildcard remains, and we'll do that. So to finalize now our access list creation for NAT, or to finalize our NAT setup, what we need to do is you need to now do the, for path, you do IP NAT inside source list 1, and when you take list 1, then you put interface, our external facing interface of our router here is GI0/1, and once we do that, the next thing we need to do is we need to take overload here. This is for path, and you do that here. So from here we can even try accessing if you can reach the internet. If you do a ping to Google, that's ping 8.8.8.8. Yes, so we can reach the internet from here, so it's fine. So currently that's set. We can now save our configuration. So write memory. So save the configurations there. So the same thing we have done here, we'll just come and do the same things here as well. So come to use our edge router here as well, and we'll just do the similar things there. I'll enter first, and I'll go to the configuration terminal. Once we are there, I'll enter the first interface, that's int gi0/0. We'll add our IP add, and 192.168.14.12.14 rather, .14, subnet mask, and we'll take IP NAT inside, this spell inside well, give it some time, and we take no shutdown to bring the interface up. We'll do the same thing. We'll enter the next interface. We'll do int gi0/2. That's what we have. We enter there. We'll do IP add DHCP, IP NAT outside is the external side of things, our one facing interface, and we are now going to add in are going to do the no shutdown to bring the interface up. So I'll give you some time. So if you do good, it has given us an IP address as well, and also our exit here. We check our route. We'll tell you that okay, IP route, we can take show IP route. We can see that there's the default gateway has already been put, and also we can clearly see that and also we can add our own routes. We can put IP route. If the destination is 172.16.1.1.0 with subnet mask of 255. You should send it to the internal VIP as well. This router here should send it to internal VIP. That is 192.168. 192.12.20. So that's what should happen. And the same thing for the other network that's way behind there. That's 192. We just go and edit it. 192.168.7.1.17 rather .0. You should send it to the same VIP, and that should be it for now concerning our route, as we explained earlier. On the next thing is to set up the access list. So take access list 1, permit. We can permit the first network 172.168.1.0 with the wildcard of 0.0.0.255. You hit enter. Permit the next network again, that's 192.168.17.0. We hit enter. Permit the next network again, that should be 192.168.12.0. We can permit also the internal network there, that should be 10.1.1.0, and we hit enter. So these are the main networks there, and we finalize it now. We make it come to life by IP NAT inside source list 1 that we just created, interface Giga Ethernet 0/2, and we'll take overload. We hit enter, and if I exit here and we try to do a ping now, with ping 8.8.8.8, it should go through. So I'll save what we have done here now. Write memory. So save that. So currently our routers and the route and internet access has been made available here. So I'm going to go back to our smart console PC here and see if we can be able to reach the internet. I'll just wait for it to come up. So currently our policies are already done. All policies have been installed. I'll close this here. And I'm also going to close this here to see if we have internet access here. So we are going to test for connectivity. So traffic to the internet is actually quite possible. And in case you encounter problems, you can always just come to, let's say at the level of the cluster, you can, let's say, ensure that nothing is happening at all the different firewalls, internal NAT. So I'll just click on our cluster here to show us how you can do that. I think this is one of the simplest methods to do nothing. That's part on the checkpoint, on checkpoint firewalls or security gateways that are available in your environment. So we're just going to do that, and then from there so once you double click on the cluster, you want to go to NAT. You click on NAT here, you click on that, and once it opens, you just see a little box where you just need to check hide NAT. So hide internal networks behind these gateways, external IP. All you need to do is to check that, you hit OK as well. Yeah, you take yes, and that should be okay. We'll do the same thing for our core firewall. It's going to hide also behind, it's going to hide traffic behind this behind all internal networks. All of the traffic is going to be hidden behind the firewall core, so it's going to be netted as well. This is not good practice. You can always do it in your environment, depending on how your environment looks like to suit your needs, or you can just simply do it at the level of your edge routers here, and that's also going to be okay. I just want to show how it's being done as well. So once you double click the firewall core as well, you can wait for it to come up. And once it's ready, you should be able to access the internet as well. So once it comes up, we'll just go through the same part. We click on that and give it some time to load. Once it comes, then from there, you can then check the hide internal networks behind the gateway's external IP. Once you check that, you can hit OK. Then from there, I'll hit install, where we are going to be prompted to save the changes before the policies will be installed and the new changes. So I'll click on install, and it's going to prompt us to first of all publish, then install. I'll publish, and after publishing, we are then going to take the install option. So once it comes up, then we can then hit install to install those policies, and you give some time for all your policies to be installed. And once everything is done, then you can try to access the internet. So once this is done, we are going to move to we just wait for the installations to be done. So once this is done, we are just going to move to the final sector here, where we'll just set up our DHCP server and set up DHCP relay for these devices to get an IP address through DHCP automatically. And there are several other things we can do. We can set up DNS and the likes of that. But we are going to do that in a subsequent video. So for now, we are just going to set up DHCP and DNS. So we're just going to set up DHCP rather. So let's wait for our policy to be done installing. While it's installing, we'll just go to our Windows server here. This is our Windows server. You can double click from the topology. You can double click into it. Make sure you put this IP address and you put the gateway. So currently we already have that set already here. It's set already. So since we need DHCP, we just need to come to manage, and you go to add roles and features, and you click on next. Click next again. You click on next, and once you get here, make sure you check DHCP and you take add. If you needed DNS services, you can check DNS as well, but we need just DHCP. We'll go to next, next, and then we'll install the DHCP tools we need for this lab to run. So just give you some time to do the local installation, and when it's done, you can also come back here to our policies where they have been installed. I'll click on details. I'll click this here. Let's see our Win server. Yes, there's some progress. We'll just wait for the installations to be done. So on our Windows server, we can just clearly see that the local installation of DHCP is done. I'll click on close. When that is done, you can just come to tools, then you'll find DHCP here. You click DHCP. Once you come up, we'll just set up the DHCP server and we'll make our clients to be able to access that as well. So we'll just wait for the DHCP interface to come up. So once it comes up here, you just want to hit the drop down arrow. I'll try to expand this a little bit. Let me expand from here. Try to expand it this much. And I'll expand this here too as well. So when I'm here, you just always right click. I can hit the drop down arrow here. You can right click here and you take new scope. And once you take new scope, you take next. You give it the name. I'll just say internal net 1. Just a name. You can give it any name. So just create one scope, which is for the first network, just for this single network that we have here, and it's the 172.168.1.0 network. So I'll just put the start IP. I'll do the exclusions here as well. 172.16, 172.16.1.0. we'll start from 20 or 50, and the next, the end IP address should be 172.168.1.200, for instance. We don't need that many. And make sure that the subnet marks matches 255.0, and you can hit next. We have excluded already, so it's no need. We take next as well. Allow this. We take yes here. We take next. Make sure you set the gateway. When the devices receive an IP address, what will be their gateway? So according to topology, this will be their gateway when they receive an IP. So put the IP there, 172.168.1.1. Make sure you hit add and you take next. And from here, the DNS server is already set. In case you need DNS, we hit OK. And here we don't have Win server, so keep that aside. And here we want to make the scope to be active. So just take here, next, and take finish. So all of that should be set. So our DHCP server right now is already ready. But the main thing is if you go to this our test pieces here, if I double click any of the test pieces and I say IP DHCP, we hit enter, we realize that the user is failing to get an IP through DHCP. This is because this device is in a different network compared to where the DHCP server is. This router is in between. So we need to set up this interface to be a DHCP relay that's going to assist the broadcast signals coming from these devices to reach the Windows server. So to do that, we just need to go back to our smart console PC. We need to get to this particular PC and access this firewall on the graphical user interface, and then we configure it as needed. So once we are here, our policies are done already, so that's fine. I'll close this and I'll also close this. I'll click on our browser here. So once we are here, we'll look for the IP address of our firewall core here. That's 10.1.1.3. So look for 10.1.1.3. This is it. Yes, here. This is 10.1.1.3. I'm going to take OK. This is firewall core. We'll try to reach firewall core again. Just give it some time to reboot so we can have access to the Gaia portal of the firewall. So once it's up, we'll then put in our username admin and put our password admin123 and we hit enter to log in. So hold on for it to come up, and once it's up, we just need to go to the bottom where it says DHCP relay. This is all you need to do. You come to where it says relay, and then you're going to add. Click on add, and once you click on add here, you need to hit the drop down arrow. You select the interface. According to our topology here, it is 0. It's our interface of interest. So click on ETA0, and the IP address is there. That's the primary address. You put the same address, 172.168.1.1. That's the primary address, and then the relay. You click on add. We want to add what's the IP address of the DHCP server that we want to be assisting. That's 172.168. That's 192.168.17.102. So you put there 192.168.17.102. So when you do that, you click on OK. And when you're done with that, everything should be good to go and you take save. Once it is saved, we expect now clearly that once it is saved, we expect clearly that if you go to your user PC as before, here the DHCP that failed, if you hit IP DHCP, we expect everything to go fine. From here, if it's still not going well, we are then going to move to our let's we are, we are still getting issues, so we can then move to so we can then double check what's happening. We can go back to our Windows server here. We can check the information that we have clearly placed here. You see the primary address is 172.168.1.1 and the relay is 192.168.17.102. Let's confirm that IP. 192.168.17.102. We'll confirm at the level of the server as well. Let me double click here. I just want to go to address lists. Okay, so we have no lists at the moment. So let's just confirm our IP address. I'll just move this to the side here and I'll see 192.168.17.102. I'll check if this device has a gateway, because if the gateway is not properly set, then it's not going to be able to forward traffic properly. So right click here and I'm going to check directly properties. We'll go to IPv4 and here is where the problem is. The gateway is not set correctly. From our design, our gateway is supposed to point to .1. So from here, our gateway is pointing to something else. That's 101. So it should be pointing to .1. So I'll take OK there, like that. And I'll take OK here as well. And once that is good, I'll close this. We're going to go again and try to get an IP address from our server, IPDHCP. And so our server is ready now. So our server has given us an IP. So that's good. And we are equally going to take show IP to check that, and everything looks fine. So from here, we'll equally try to see what's next. And also from this end device, we can try to access the internet. If you try to ping through the internet, the internet access is now reachable right from this our internal device. And also if we get to our checkpoint smart console PC itself here, I think the smart console PC, and we'll go to the CLI. If we try to hit the internet again, it should be reachable from here as well. If not reachable, then we are going to see how to make that happen. So it's now reachable, we can access the internet and everything looks fine. So with that being said, I know the video is a bit too long than expected, but it's just a simple demonstration of how you can be able to set up a little enterprise environment. There are other things you can be able to do in an enterprise environment, but the setup is basic, but I think it makes some sense. You can play around and create cool policies to really restrict traffic as needed. So in our upcoming videos, we are going to see how to establish these videos where we have structured policies within our firewall. So right now we have been looking a lot at deployments, but in the subsequent videos we'll see how to ensure that security is of the main importance, not just the deployments that are available. But understanding the deployments is very important, because if you don't know how to do the deployments, then you always face issues even with your policies as well. So with that being said, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. So don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're also looking for an environment as to where to learn networking and equally security as well, especially with the checkpoint firewall, you can head over to www.wtech.com. And at wtech.com, they're always going to be ready to give you these services and train you to also be good at ensuring that your skills are up to date. So with that being said, I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video, and bye bye for now.